Did you catch that? I absolutely love this shot from Severance. It's kind of genius in ways I just really need to talk about. It's a shot that's repeated throughout the series, often several times per episode, yet remains captivating each time, its subtle eeriness perfectly mirroring the show's unsettling tone. On the surface, it appears fairly straightforward, but much like the show itself, there are layers here that demand to be peeled back. Something about it just hits different. So let's get into why and how it hits. Now, if you're not familiar with Apple TV's Severance, which I hope you are because spoilers, etc., this shot is depicting the moment one character, named Mark Scout, becomes another character, named Mark S. They share one body, but Mark and his coworkers' minds have each been medically split into two individual consciousnesses. Thereafter, the original person is called an outie, while the new person is called an innie, because they only transition into existence during elevator rides down to their subterranean jobs at Lumen Industries, an evil biotech corporation that's also kind of a religion that feels akin to many of the Second Great Awakening movements that took place in the burned-over district of New York State, and I could and I should, but I won't go on and on and on about that, because that's really a subject for another video. So let's get back to talking about that shot. In the pilot script, there was no specific description given of what this transition of personhood was meant to look like, and in fact, the first time it happens, we, the audience, are not supposed to know what just occurred. But Ben Stiller, the director of over half of the show's episodes, and whose production company developed the show, wanted to have something occur here, while still maintaining that mystery of what was going on. And on top of everything else, Stiller wanted to keep the effects in Severance practical where possible. So, Goal 1, maintain the mystery. Goal 2, have it happen practically. Let's talk about that second concept first. You're certainly familiar with the term practical effect, as it's fairly common parlance to even the most casual Letterboxd users. Whenever a director devotes the effort into utilizing practical effects, they want to make sure you know about it in their behind-the-scenes interviews. That's because it takes a lot of forethought, care, and attention to detail to get something miraculous entirely in camera on the day. It's like a magic trick. With enough planning and enough obsession, the laws of reality seemingly bend right before our eyes, no computer required. Difficult, yes, but ask anyone, and they'll tell you that extra bit of work is worth it for the tactile feeling that CGI can't replicate just yet. CGI has its place, to be sure. Severance uses a lot of it in ways so subtle you almost certainly never noticed. But devotees of film are obsessed with practical effects because they lend a certain realism, even to Lovecraftian horrors from deep space. In the companion podcast to the show, Stiller says he drew some inspiration for his filmmaking process for Severance from two sci-fi directors who are both renowned for their use of practical effects. Christopher Nolan, but perhaps even more so, Michel Gondry. In particular, you might have watched the sequence in Season 1 of Petey suffering from reintegration sickness and been reminded of the film Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Britt Lauer, who plays Helly, certainly was. Rooms blending into rooms, memories overlapping. Most of this was done practically in Eternal Sunshine, and likewise in Severance, by moving portions of the set and filming the same shot over and over and over, just with costumes and locations swapped. So, back to that initial shot. What's so special about it? Well, there's a lot happening in this now iconic moment. We have some pretty spectacular sound design that feels like it's matching Adam Scott's eye fluttering. The simple pairing of an audio cue with some physicality that sort of scaffold and reinforce each other. Scott is, simultaneously, subtly changing his body language, usually adopting a straighter posture when he becomes Mark S. In addition, the musical score before the switch is dour and haunting. But immediately after, the music becomes a sort of upbeat muzak, creating a positive mood that feels nonetheless sanitized and corporate. But you may have noticed something else. Mark's face is warping as he descends the elevator. That's not CGI, that's all done in camera, with a special technique called a Dolly zoom, also known as the vertigo effect, or Hitchcock zoom. The way it's achieved requires precision, yet is fairly simple. The lens zooms in while the camera simultaneously moves back, or vice versa. The timing has to be just right, but when it is, something incredibly special happens. The technique itself isn't exactly revolutionary. It's been used hundreds of times before, typically when the filmmaker wants to instill a sense of unease in the audience or depict a character's horrifying realization of changing fortunes. But the real genius behind this use of the Dolly zoom is what Stiller chose to put behind it. Almost nothing. Typically, dolly zooms rely on a clear foreground and background in order to create that eerie warping effect. But if you take that background away, all that's left to focus on is the subject, pulling your attention to how the face shape subtly shifts as the focal length changes. And what you get is someone who looks the same, but different. A singular shot that manages to transform a person's appearance without any CGI. But there's another thing it achieves. The outie world is filmed with long lenses, which feel more natural to the human eye, while the innie world uses wider lenses, which gives it a more artificial, unsettling look. So as the camera transitions from outie to innie, it moves from a long lens to a short one, literally pulling us into the unsettling world of Lumen. Now, you may remember I mentioned one other goal for this shot: to have the effect be noticeable, but mysterious the first time we see it. In episode 1, we're not told what the severance procedure is until halfway through the episode. The very first time we see Mark transform, we have no idea what's happening. All we know is that something happened. Did a weeping man just pull himself together faster than anyone has? Or is there more at work here? The most satisfying twists are the ones we could never have guessed, yet are utterly obvious after the fact. Case in point, did you think I'd want to talk about Christopher Nolan again? Well, here I am doing it. That's the prestige. We don't have time to get fully into what is, at this point, an undersung gem in Nolan's filmography, but suffice it to say, every setup in that movie pays off beautifully, making the rewatch incredibly rewarding.
Well, how does he do it? He uses a double. No, it's too simple.
Same goes for Severance. When we see Mark's transformation, it's not obvious what's happening, but afterwards, once the plot has been revealed to us, it couldn't be clearer. That's good filmmaking. Or TV making, or streaming making. If CGI had been used to create an elaborate lightning effect, or hair and makeup had changed his hairstyle, hell, if the camera had cut and suddenly he acted differently, it would have been too obvious that he had changed personas. But keeping the shot on him and using a subtle in-camera effect, the magic trick could happen right in front of our eyes, making the subsequent reveal all the more satisfying. And that, as we say, is how it hits. So, did you learn anything? Or are you the cinephile waiting to pick this video apart? Let us know in the comments. And if you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to like and subscribe.